Why, hello there. I'm a very famed photographer. Anyone would be blessed to be photographed by me, or as the Italians say, moi. So, I am now giving you this opportunity to show your modeling posing skills. So, pose for me. This is just going to be practice. Silence yourself. You can't find good help these days. This camera is absolutely busted. Now, pose for me. Is that all you have? Do it again. 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 Do you need a break? We have just begun, and you already need a break. I want you to mean it. I want you to put all your lungs, organs, vital necessities into this pose. Pose for me. 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 Come here. I'm going to be checking your audacity. I'm going to be checking your audacity. Yes, your audacity seems to be on another level. Yeah, I can see that your audacity is on another level of stinkiness. So I'm going to be asking you once again. Pose for me. Pose for me. Right. Pose for me. Once again. Pose for me. 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 Pose. 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 Frankly, sweetie, this will look better. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm taking your photo with your face veiled. Why? Because you photograph better that way. You photograph more lovely that way. Now, if you're being serious about this photography opportunity with famed photographer, moi, I would say, take it a little more seriously. Take it a little more seriously. Are you ready to come out from beneath the veil? Are you sure? Good. Now, pose for me. Pose. Pose for me. Pose. 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 Vogue it out. Here. Grab this pack of acrylic nails. Right. Now, emphasize the pack of acrylic nails. Emphasize it really like this. Like this. Like this. Like this. Like this. Very much, you know. It's like make it hoe, but then make it fashion. So, likewise, take the pack of nails. Take the pack of acrylic nails. Now, pose for me. Pose for me. Pose. 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 Pose for me. Pose for me. Pose for me. Pose for me. Pose. 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 Pose for me. Pose for me. Pose for me. Pose for me. Pose. 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 I'm not really feeling it. And if I'm not really feeling it, it's because you're not really feeling it. Okay? I don't know what I have to do in order for you to feel it. Look into the light. Look into the light and follow the light. Look into the light and follow the light. Look into the light and follow the light as it goes side to side, side to side, side to side. You will think, breathe, be about the pose. You will only exist for the pose. Look deeper into the light. You will only exist for the pose. You will only exist for the pose. You will only think for the pose. You will only think for the pose. You will only be for the pose. You will only be for the pose. You will drink for the pose. You will drink for the pose. You will eat for the pose. You will eat for the pose. Pose, 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 pose. Look me in the eyes. Look me in the eyes. Right, look me in the eyes. I must analyze you and see if you are ready for the pose. Now, pose for me. Parfait. Do it again. Pose, 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 pose. Oh my God. This is a religious experience. Pose, 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 pose. I've blessed you with a piece of my own jewelry to commemorate you as my model, as my muse. In nomine arte, in nomine photographe, in nomine puse, in nomine corazonse. You are a model, my model, to be exact. You are my muse. Now pose, 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 pose. I'm going to be measuring you to see if you have the right dimensions of a model of mine. I will not be measuring your body, nay. Your body says nothing of you. I'll be measuring your heart. But first I must cut it out. Excuse me. I'm going to be merely cutting your heart out. Just go. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. I'm merely cutting your heart out. Don't mind me. I'm merely cutting your heart out. Do not mind me. I am merely cutting out your heart. Perfect. Have you ever seen Indiana Jones 2? When the man cuts out the man's heart. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to be measuring your heart now. Boom, 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 boom. You have the perfect dimensions of a corazon, corazon, as those lispy Spaniards say. Final pose. Final pose. Final pose. I want you to give me your final pose.